Hi friends, in this tutorial I'm going to be covering the for each loop. So before I get started, just want to say that if you have any questions or any suggestions, recommendations, feel free to put it in the comment section below. So let's get started. So in the previous tutorial for the for loop, I just generated a simple for loop for each line. So if you haven't watched it, you can watch it on my channel. So for this one, I thought maybe just instead of outputting strings, I should do something like show the contents of a directory. So let's open my virtual machine, and in here I have this script called for loop, which was from the previous one. So don't save. Let me rename it to make copy it and make paste it in here, and rename it to for each loop. So so let's get started. For this one, in my previous tutorials, I explained this get child item. What it does is that it shows the contents of the current directory. So if you want to, let's say, get the contents of the C directory, what we do is we type in get child item and then the location of the folder or directory that we want to view. So in here, we want to see the contents of the C directory. So you can see that if we go to my computer, this C, you can see that these directories are in here, and if we check it in here, you can see that these directories are there. So let's get started with our script. So what we do in here is that let's say for each, what it does is that it starts for each loop, and then let's give it a name. Let's say give it a name of the directory. So, and after that we say get child item C. So this part, what it does is that it starts a for each loop and it creates a variable called directory, and it says that get child item C. So what it does is that it runs this command, get child item C. So you can see these files, this in here, these are the directories that reside inside that folder. So what it says that go for each loop, go through all of the items in there and store them in this variable called directory one by one. So what we do after that is we are saying type in something like directory name is, and then we type directory. So what it does is that in here, this part I explained. So what it does is that every time it goes through the contents of the C directory, it stores it in the variable called directory, and it outputs this string directory name is followed by directory. So basically what it does is that it's like the first time it runs, it stores, let me open this. So the first time it runs, it stores perf logs in the directory and it outputs it. The second time it runs to, it sees the program files, it stores it in the directory variable, and here it outputs it. So it goes on and on until it ends this file, this directory. So there are 5. So after 5 runs, it stops running. So let's save it, and let's come in here, say that the name of the for each loop. So if we run it, we can see that it says previously when we did the get child item C, it showed us these directories, their length, last write time, the dates, and the mode. However, in here we just say that show me the names of it. So what it does, this directory name is, so it was what we put in the file statically, directory name is. After that we set output the contents of the directory variable. So the first time it runs, it stores perf logs in the directory, so it outputs perf log. The second time it runs, it stores program files in the directory a variable, so the second time this shows. So it goes on and on until it reaches Windows, which is the 5th one. So you can use this script to view the contents of a directory and the files also. So for example, let me make this quick. So copy it, paste it. So right now we have 4 files, so we can make it work with files also. So this time we are saying get child item. So what we can do is we can say users doc desktop, sorry, users admin desktop, and let's put in backslashes, and instead of directory, to make it more understandable or readable, let's say write it file name, because this time we are working with files, and we can say that file name, sorry, not file name, this file name is, let's make it file name, this part, save it. For each loop. So this time you can see that it shows the files and that is in our desktop right now. So you can see that these files I just copied and pasted them. So this is how you can view also the files. You don't have to just, doesn't just work with directories. It works with whatever the current directory holds, whether it's a files, directories, or a mixture of both. So one other thing I want to mention is that in here we have specifically mentioned this path. However, we can as easily delete it and it will still work. So let me show it first and then I will explain why it will work. So you can see that it works. Why does it work? Because if we do get child item, you can see that our script for each loop, this one, it exists currently in this directory. So if you don't specify a path in here just like we did previously, it will show the contents of the current directory in which the script resides. So right now it resides in desktop, so it showed the contents of the desktop. So this is it for this tutorial, guys. If you have any questions, any suggestions, recommendations, feel free to put it in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.